Whoops.
No, you are good. You are, yeah, sorry about that. I've been talking, just hasn't been making any difference. We can get
Sorry.
started anytime now, I think.
Well, we've gathered a good number of participants, so sure, yeah.
Sure.
Let's go, I guess.
Boom.
So, what we're going to talk about today is that there's a few workshops, I think a couple of workshops tomorrow, actually. We'll go over the reminders for the week. We'll talk about what project meetings are coming up, briefly talking about grades as well, and then we'll do attendance. So, upcoming workshops, we have two tomorrow. Sean will be doing a Web Technologies Group info session tomorrow at 3 p.m. That is tomorrow, right? Yes, at 3 p.m. And then Derek will be doing Intro to Flutter, which I think that was the Google toolkit for UI stuff. So that sounds very cool. Looking forward to that. Next slide.
Oh,
Oh, and now it's you.
well, that wasn't nearly long enough for you.
Yes.
Okay, so there's only two things due this week. Really, we'll have the attendance. We'll have attendance today, and we'll have it Friday, just like every other meeting. And then there will be a status update due Friday. I'll get that out as somewhere in the next couple of days. So those are the things that are due. We are actually moving. So I think Professor Kuzmin met with Telescope, and I think we have a meeting with Benji on tomorrow at 1 p.m. No, I'm sorry, tomorrow at 4 p.m. And assuming that Benji is good with that, that's our last meet your advisors or meet your instructors. Well, meeting. So everything's been really cool so far. Still good, Benji? Okay, excellent. So hopefully we will wrap up our meet your advisors or meet your instructors set of meetings, and we'll be done, and that'll be great. Although those are always very, very much fun. So here it is, last one. If you haven't gotten one in and you need to, do this, but also direct, DM Professor Kuzmin or myself, because I'm not actually looking at that sheet anymore after Benji, unless I get a ping. I apologize. This was a very busy weekend. It is. Let's see. It is application time for you guys, which means it's recommendation time for us guys. So between writing recommendations and getting a first custom grading solution for Submiti up and running for CS1, I did not get as far as I wanted, but that's okay because I am not the only one working on this, and Professor Kuzmin managed to get the status updates caught up. And I'm going to talk to him tonight. He's going to fill me in on any blockers that we need to talk about. Midterm evaluations are 95% done, give or take. We will have that. It's my plan to have that done before I go to bed tonight. But if I fall asleep standing up, it may be tomorrow morning. It will be, we will get both of those up, and Rainbow Grades will be out in time for any of you who are concerned to consider taking a pass no credit. I'm not necessarily recommending that for anybody, but the option is still there. So we want to get you another set of feedback before that time. The other thing we have coming up is we have our presentations. We debated exactly what to do about the end of this semester, or the end of the in-person, and it seems a shame to waste too many days this semester. So we are going to actually start presentations the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, with the concept that most of you will probably be home by then, because you'll leave, if you're smart, on the weekend, because all the courses are probably offered online anyway. But regardless, we will be we'll be starting presentations on Tuesday. We're going to start off. What we'd like to do is we'd like to, both with the beginning of the year project proposals and with these presentations, we like to start off with some of our more experienced projects, some of the bigger projects that, that kind of lead the way, and they've been through this before. So we're going to start off on Tuesday with Telescope, although that's a small project, but it's a very experienced developer. We'll start off with Venue, and we'll start off with Yaks. And we are going to invite you to attend and evaluate the presentations. Now, what we're generally going to do is we're going to bring in the presentations, the groups, by your small group. And I know small group doesn't have nearly as much meaning as when you're actually sitting in a small group with somebody. But we will bring you in by small groups, and you'll have the opportunity to evaluate your peers. It's good to have an audience. It's good to present to an audience. You're not required to evaluate, to do any evaluations. You are welcome to do evaluations, and they will help Professor Kuzman and I decide what presentation grade to give, because if you remember back to our rubric, I believe this is like 15% of your grade is how well you do the presentation. I'll go over a rubric in a little more detail. Is this big enough? That's probably big enough. I'll go over the rubric, the actual rubric for grading this, or present a rubric on Friday. But for today, let's just go over kind of what the evaluation form looks like. I don't anticipate any changes to this, at least no substantive ones. This is what I've been using for the last couple of semesters. When you evaluate a project, we want your email address, mainly so I can filter and make sure that you're not evaluating, your own project 90 times and giving yourselves straight grades. The project name of what you're evaluating, your role, and it's, instructor, mentor, student. And then we're going to, so that's just the front matter, so we know who you are if we need to know that. And then we're just going to go over a couple of things. The first is effectiveness of presentation. We're grading on a 5-point scale. This is the overall impression of the presentation. Did they do a good job? Were they clear? Did they mumble? Mumble would be bad. And it goes from 5 being, so you can kind of think of this as A, B, C, D, and not so good. So, in general, you're going to find that most everybody is in the 3, 4, 5 range. We like our presentations. We like to reward people for getting up there and doing a good job. We always have to know what project you're working on. If you forget your title, that's an automatic 10% off. We also want to know who your teammates are. So make sure that, and this is because, quite honestly, as we're going over these, we will be, okay, good. I have the recording going. I was worried we have to start over again. As we're going over these, we like to be able to see what it is we're evaluating, and they don't always show up all that well. We don't always have a good feel for who it is while we're watching a recording of something. So, please always put your title up there, your teammates, who's working with you, so that we know who you're working with. Again, same thing, right, as with the title. We need to be able to know, who this applies to. You should always have a description of your project. Now, here's where things get dicey. You can tell me that you're doing full stack and or lean stack or mean stack or whatever you want to tell me, and you can tell me all the nitty-gritty details about how you had this networking idea, and you're doing you've invented a new variant of UDP, that's UDTP, UDTCP, something like that. Try to give a vision. What are you headed for? What in the end game, when this is fully fleshed out, and you've got your project to at least that initial stage of greatness, what is it going to look like? So let us in there. Don't get down in the details or in the things you've accomplished or want to accomplish this semester, that we can't tell what it is you are actually trying to do up front. There's this balance between giving us all the beauty of where you are and giving us all the beauty of where you are and missing the forest for the trees, as it were. Um, don't know where that static's coming from. Okay, doesn't appear to be me though. Okay, the last one. So that's the description. The project orientation. The organization is worth 20%. Remember, yeah, I tried muting everybody, and I'm not getting this, but I don't know if I can mute people who called in. You guys can all hear that as well, right? That, huh? Okay. Anyway, project organization. We want to know how your project is structured, both from how your people work together, how your work is organized, but also how do you welcome in new people? Do you have things? Do you have contributors guidelines? Do you have an issue tracker? Do you have do you have an issue tracker? Do you have a README? Do you have a welcoming? How are you actually managing? Are you bringing people in or what? So that's kind of another thing that we want to look at. And then finally, you'll notice at 10%, you need to tell us your progress. And we are going to look at your progress. But we're not, the progress is not the be all and end all. We will evaluate some of your progress when we look at your contributions, your open source contributions and whatnot. But so you need to tell us that you've made progress. And by the way, the magnitude of your progress is not necessarily what's important here. What we want to know is we want to see that you've made a progression through the semester, and you've told us what that progression is and what state you started out in and what state you ended up in. And we also, as we go through, we'd like to see everybody, or at least for most everybody, gets a chance to speak and tell us what they learned from the project and what they're going. We will generally try to keep this to be about an hour and 20 minutes, give or take. We do have this class for 2 hours, so we go till almost 6:45 if we need to. So be prepared. We do have a lot of you to get through. I think it's 32 right now or something like that. So if we have to, we go longer than we normally do, not longer than we have available to us for the class. But that's just kind of how we're going to go about this. I'll give you some more specifics on how to do these ratings on Friday, and then we'll get started. We'll get some practice on Tuesday. I'm going to just recommend to everybody, unless you are experienced and you know what you're doing and you don't possibly want to listen to 3 wise and intrepid volunteers. Intrepid, I love that word. Think about attending at least Tuesday session. There's only going to be 3 presentations. We'll try to keep the presentations in general to be about 10 minutes. We have to kind of divide it up a little bit based on how many students we have. But feel free to attend. The form link is here. I'll put that in all the rest of them as well, so that we can always get to those and make the presentations and make your evaluations. And remember that in general, you guys, by evaluating your friends and your peers honestly, you have an opportunity to make sure that they get the grade they deserve. If Professor Kuzman or I miss something, you can go through and kind of make up for that and make sure that everything gets evaluated. So it's always good for you guys to listen to these. These are some of the best parts. There's a lot of best parts of the semester. This is one of the best parts of the semester. We would get to actually go in and see what everybody's done. All right, with that in mind, like I said, I will try to give you a write-up of the rubric on Friday. But with that in mind, and remember that we'll give the grades out tonight or no later than tomorrow. We can look at our attendance figures or how to get attendance. And I think I have this set up, kind of, almost. Let's see. And of course, this is flipped over to the wrong thing. Okay, so because I always promise people extra marks, if you want to take a 3 to a 5, give me a little song and dance, and I'm being literal, not figurative. No, don't bluff me. Do a little song and dance. Now we will. So that because of that, our passphrase today for submittee is song and dance. I will pop that into the chat for everyone. So there's that. Here's our venue QR code. Please.
Your camera's off.
My camera's off.
Or at least your stream to the WebEx is off.
Because it's showing on my end.
Unless it's just me. Oh, cool. I love WebEx.
Yeah,
Great.
WebEx has
Awesome.
been nothing but pleasant today. I will tell you. I have not been... Go ahead.
That noise is gone.
Yeah. I think that noise was Ethan losing contact with, well, probably reality. It would probably be all of reality, right? There's no reason why it would just be. Now, I don't know what that was, but whatever it was, it's now gone. Good. That was annoying.
I don't know. I'm in a weird WebEx land right now.
Yeah, WebEx has been special. All right, but there's everything we need here, and I'm sorry for going on a little bit. I got distracted with the noise, and I know I was drifting a little bit. By the way, if you ever need to stop talking or something, there's a something they've learned in I think it was in the Department of Defense, that if you feedback somebody's voice to them at some small level of delay, it works. It's almost impossible for people without exercising a lot of will to keep talking when their voice comes back to them at a delay of like a second or something like that. So it's kind of interesting. So sometimes when you hear the echo, when you hear an echo on these WebEx calls, it's very hard for people to talk over themselves when they have that echo feedback coming. It throws them off their game. All right. I will hang out here for a little bit. I think I'm going to meet with Professor Kuzman and maybe Nia, and if anybody else needs to meet with me as well, we can do that. But go forth and small group. If you're one of the intrepid 3, I'm going to call them. Get your slides ready. Yeah, we will start doing presentations on Tuesday. All right, thank you, everybody. Harken back to a simpler time when we just had to sit outside of Amos Eaton.